Well, this is episode 365 of the 3 Point Podcast, presented by the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center, voted the best health club gym for 2025, 3 straight years now for the people there. Awesome. Follow the Wellness Center on Facebook for more details. We're also brought to you in part by AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori and Associates Real Estate Services, and Nelson House Funeral Home. Well, fellas, we made it to mid-June now. Full summer mode. Cookouts, Tiger games, and up north fun. Tell us about some up north fun, Matt, as you were up in Ludington, Michigan.
Yeah. So I got back just yesterday. Actually, we're recording Tuesday morning. Got back yesterday from Ludington. We went up there. We're basically there for a week, and my family lives up there. My parents live up there. But one of the main reasons we went up there, other than visiting with family, was it was the Gus Macker weekend up in Ludington. And, you know, listeners of the podcast, we talk about Gus Macker often. We obviously interviewed Scott McNeil last year, talking about Gus Macker and how it all started. But the Ludington Gus Macker, I mean, it's basically back up to full capacity like what it was pre-COVID, pre-Jared's generation, not caring about 3-on-3 basketball. You know, it was I feel like I saw some statistic that it was back up to like 85-90% full capacity as far as like where it was when Gus Macker was at its peak. So, and just being there, it was both streets. So anyone who hasn't been there, there's the street that's on the beach there at Stearns Beach in Ludington, where, you know, you park if you're going to the beach. And then there's a street basically right next to it. Courts on both of those streets. So you can either play on the beach or you play on the street kind of next to the beach. Both of them lined. They've got all the food trucks on both ends. They had blow-ups for the kids, you know, like bounce houses and stuff for the kids. They've got music going the whole time. Obviously, they have like a PA announcer kind of making announcements and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a cool environment. I mean, even if you don't really care about 3-on-3 basketball or, you know, Gus Macker, it's just a fun environment. All the like energy, the kids playing. Obviously, if you want to stop and watch like the top men's or top women's games, there's some really, really good action if you want to watch that. It's just fun. And obviously it's one of those things where it's very, very, very dependent on weather.
Oh, yeah.
If it's bad weather, then it's just, you know, obviously not going to be very enjoyable. And I was telling Ted before we started recording, I think we saw a couple of drops of rain, a couple of little drizzles, and most of it overnight. Otherwise, it was sunny. You know, you're on the lake, so there's usually a little bit of a breeze. Maybe it got a little cool in the mornings, but no, otherwise it was perfect, you know, early June Michigan weather up north on Lake Michigan. Good basketball. One of my nephews is playing. That's part of, you know, going up there to watch. He's playing. So, no, awesome.
How did his team do?
Gus Macker is highly recommended, Anton. I would highly recommend anyone who's never been up north to like a beach town to go up there.
How did your nephew's team do?
Yeah, they had a rough go. He doesn't play. He plays a bunch of sports, but he doesn't play AAU basketball. His 3 buddies that are on his team do play on an AAU team over at Lanesburg. So the way they do the seeding, obviously age and experience and stuff, but like if you play in some AAU, you kind of get bumped up as far as experience. So they're a good team. They took 3rd place last year, so they were bumped up, and there were 2 teams that were just really good. There was a team from DeWitt, and I forget where the other team was that they lost to, but they had 2 dudes that, you know, that age. So he's 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. That you're at that point where like either some of your buddies have hit puberty and have hit their growth spurt, and some haven't, you know. And there were these 2 teams clearly have the dudes who are already like over 6 foot, and you know, like maybe not over 6 foot. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, 2 of these teams, they were just really good. So they had that. Ted, you remember from playing, they lost their first game. They won their second game. So they stayed in that side of the bracket, and then they lost their third game. So they were out. It's almost like if you lose that first game,
you're done.
You don't want to tell your kids to lose. You want to win, but you almost want to lose your second game and then just go down to the toilet bowl and then just compete for the toilet bowl. Cause that's kind of a fun, almost consolation prize.
So what, you go to the losers bracket if you lose and then win, or they put you in literally a whole other division if you lose twice, basically?
Well, if you
what you're
lose
saying?
twice, you're out. But so like if you win, you kind of stay competing for the championship. But then you still have to play the teams that are
Right.
stacked.
That you
And then
right,
if you lose
lost.
that second game, you're out. Whereas if you lose twice right away, you go down to the toilet bowl.
Mhm.
And you can compete for that, which is kind of fun, and maybe against teams that you can beat up on a little bit. We won toilet bowl a couple times because we were kind of like, let's just tank.
That
the
would
second
explain where
game.
all the trophies came behind Ted's
Yep.
shoulder too.
No, there ain't no toilet bowl trophies behind me. Let me tell you that right now.
And
And
I
the
was,
toilet bowl trophy is a little bit different too. It is an actual toilet, isn't it?
it is an actual toilet, so it's a cool thing to win, but it is saying you didn't win at all. You don't get the golden ball
Right.
like what you have back there. And I was going to say, so yeah, otherwise, I mean, it really, they do such a great job, Scott McNeil and his team and everything. That it's a cool event, even if you're not in, like I said, into 3-on-3 basketball. They have that down. They the merch,
Yep.
huge merch tent with all the shorts and shirts and hats, and I mean, there's just so much stuff. And like I said, getting all the volunteers, getting just the city on board to get it all set up, and the hoops, and it's a heck of a production, if you want to call it that.
Well, it
I mean,
sounds like it's back to the old days, for sure.
yeah. I mean, I would be curious to ask Scott, but I bet it's basically back to when you were playing, when I was playing,
Right.
because it was packed. And for a city like Ludington, obviously summer is their peak tourism, up there. I mean, it's got to bring in, every hotel is probably full. Not probably, every hotel is full. The shops, the restaurants and stuff just making bank.
I know you're a little biased because you've had many experiences up at Ludington and your parents are up there, but from where I sit, and I've had some experience in Ludington as well, I think as an up north city, it's very underrated. Everybody talks about Traverse City, Petoskey, Mackinac City, but Ludington has a lot to offer, right on Lake Michigan. You got the Badger there if you want to take the ferry across to Wisconsin. They also have dinner cruises on the Badger. I don't know if you've ever taken part of that, but that's very neat. I did that one time with my wife.
Nice.
Ludington is just a great spot.
It really is. And I mean, like you said, right there on the water. So that's the main thing. You got a nice beach, but there's a state park up there also. So, for camping or hiking, canoeing, boating, stuff like that. Yeah, your typical downtown with all the fun little touristy shops, ice creams, restaurants, and stuff like that. There's some cool breweries and wineries, if you're into that kind of stuff. Obviously fishing. If you're big into fishing, you can do all that. So it really is. It's a great, great summer destination for people looking for that kind of, summertime fun. It highly recommended.
Wow. I know you had a great time with family up there.
Yep.
Jared and I had some fun with our family too. We have some highlights to relate. Of course, Friday night, Tigers and Reds, nonstop rain the whole night. But fortunately, our seats were like the very first row of cover in the upper deck. So we were fortunate. We didn't get wet at all. Saw the Tigers with a big win. Ludacris played afterwards. Did not stick around for that. I saw some clips online, but looked like they had a really good crowd.
I forgot that was the Ludacris night. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ted. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, that's fine. We're just
I forgot about that Ludacris night. That was a big deal.
I was kind of surprised it wasn't a bigger crowd. I mean, seriously, it was miserable outside.
It was.
I was down there working, and so I went and talked to them for a little bit on the Miller Lite porch, which, by the way, everybody loves the Miller Lite porch. The Miller Lite porch is like the worst. It's every time I'm up there, I'm like, this is not what it's cracked up to be. This needs an upgrade of some. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the concrete everywhere. Maybe it's the like $30 outdoor patio furniture that you sit on, or the no view of the field. Really, there's something they need to fix about that Miller Lite porch, formerly the Pepsi porch. What is
the draw? Do you get like special access to concessions or something?
It's like happy hour, and it's really like when you think about Comerica, it's really the only spot you can kind of gather that's like around the concourse. I don't know where else you would even go.
Wow.
There's not really anywhere else other than like the carousel area.
Right.
I don't know where else you would even like congregate before the game, which is a big thing they're trying to push, is getting people there, a couple hours early.
Right.
To spend a little more on concessions. But to me, it's like like I was up there and like Ted said, it was raining, never stopped raining. I'm like, this is horrible. Like there's no cover. Everyone's crowded into this one little like spot so you can get somewhat underneath an awning at the bar.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. Do you agree with that? It's people always say how awesome it is.
No, I
just
have a totally
never
opposite
understood.
take. I had my notes. That's one of the pros of the ballpark experience. To me, I wrote down a few pros and cons, and that happy hour. I mean, $3 peanuts, $3 hot dogs, $5 beers. I mean, it's if it was better weather, I agree with you. It would have been a little bit better, but I didn't get wet. I stood next to the bar undercover. I enjoyed it.
Obviously, you're enjoying it here at the game. I just think I don't know. To me, it's every time I'm on that porch, I'm like, I'm just ready to go to my seat, pretty much. And I agree. The deals are awesome. You can't beat the deals. Agreed. Right. It just leaves a little to be desired to me. I would do a little bit reconfiguring up there. Move that bar back so that the congregating area is like at the field rather than the bar being up against the field, so that you really can't see the field. I don't know.
What's the level?
So that's the main, I guess, attraction to that is, say you got a bachelor party or something. That's the spot where you and 10 buddies can sit and get your happy hour. Is that like what, I guess, if you're not like Ted, where you're going to take your scorebook and you want to sit in your seat and you want to watch the game, you're probably not buying that ticket to go there. Is that kind of...
Yeah, it's like standing room. So, I mean, if you get there early, you can get an okay, like standing spot where you can see the field right in right field, where Ellie De La Cruz like nearly hit a ball up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still fun. It's still a good time. I wish that they would do something a little bit more with that area.
Yeah, it is funny because you're right, Matt. In Jared's age group and maybe even yours, it's more of a hang time. You know, if they could improve on that, if you wanted to just hang out there and drink with your buddies. But the game experience to me is, you know, getting to your seat by the first pitch and enjoying the game. And I will say this, another pro. There was a big demand for tickets. So when I bought my tickets for the group that we were with, I was getting 323, section 323, row 16. So it was quite high in the upper deck, but it was between first and third, more close to home plate. What a great view. What a great seat. I mean, you might be up high, but you're looking right down in the field, could see the ball hit every time. You could see the pitches, and you got the view of, again, another pro for the Tigers. That scoreboard is phenomenal. It just is incredible.
Even without the Comerica Park up there, like people were mad about
the Tigers. Yeah.
Tigers. Yeah.
It's people.
Makes
That's
no
just,
difference.
I'll be curious what people are mad about this week in Tigers world. It's always something stupid, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That right field upper deck is an underrated seat. I've sat there before last year when Scooble had his best outing of his career up until a few weeks ago against the Guardians. It's awesome up there. It's you see everything exactly how you laid it out. There's something about being on the first row, like in left field line or even up in left field. It's like you can't even tell what's going on. Right. You feel like you're 300 football fields away from the action, and you can't even tell what's going on. And that's why you just end up staring at the scoreboard the whole time. But where you're at, you can actually see it. It's kind of like a bird's eye view. It's pretty awesome.
It really is. And it was nice for a tip out there for people that want upper deck seats and be under some cover. Row 16 is where the cover starts. The people sitting down in front of us, they were miserable. They were soaked. It was crazy.
I just forgot. I was going to ask you about this when you were at the game. And then I saw you 3 times this weekend. I didn't ask you one time, even though I've been thinking about it. So, okay. So you drove and got physical tickets, right?
I did.
So what was it's just awesome. That's just what you do. You just love doing that. Was there ever
my wife,
you went and got those? You're like, why am I doing this?
It is kind of silly, but my wife had something to do that day. She wasn't home, and I thought, well, what the hell? I'm gonna hop in the car. I do like talking with a ticket agent because they can give me the different options where we can sit. I can just talk to them and look online, and I don't pay the fee. So I mean, I have to spend gas, but still, I enjoy the fact I was getting 2 games worth of tickets too, so I thought it'd be worth it. So
did the rain soak your ticket, nearly disintegrate it?
No, I kept it protected, but I did. That brought up another negative. I got one negative here on the game experience. Their bag policy is just crazy. It is just crazy. They say you can only take a 4-inch by 5-inch. one compartment. This is for the women, that have purses, so they can't hardly take anything in. I had a black, just a small, like a Dollar Tree bag, right? And I had my raincoat in there, and I had a jersey I wanted to put on, and a bottled water. They wouldn't let me take it in. Now, come on. I get
I always thought it had to be clear. I always thought it had to be clear. That was my initial reading on that. I thought it has to be a clear bag. Is that
they've even changed that, Jared. It doesn't have to be clear, but we bought a special clear bag to go to the ball games, and now it's too big. It's too big, so they won't let you in with it. I think they've gone a little overboard on that. I understand the fact that they've eliminated the fact that you could bring in food. You used to be able to bring in a little cooler, and you could bring sandwiches. You could bring your bottled water. They completely got rid of that, which is a shame when you think about it. I mean, baseball is the one sport you should be able to go to multiple games with the family and be able to afford it. Right. When you go and you got to pay for all the concessions, and I get it. It's profit to the ball club, makes sense. I get it, but it kind of defeats the purpose of the history of baseball, the allure of baseball, just to go enjoy yourself and maybe not spend a fortune. It doesn't affect me that much, but I think that's one negative that they have going on. Now, another pro, I'll throw this out there. This first game I've gone to this year, they've kind of realigned the entry ports to get into the game. It's outside of, where the big tiger at the middle of the stadium is, where you walk in and congregate. We used to be able to just go there, and then you had to wait in line to get in the stadium. Now they've got the metal detectors and that in different areas. They check you outside, and then you can mill around in that area. So I thought that was a good move by the Tigers there. It kind of took away some of the congestion to get into the ballpark.
I'm always, every time I'm in that concourse, like right before first pitch, I'm like, it's so, I don't know how it's always slammed, even when it feels like there's not really that many people at the game.
Right.
You can't move in that concourse.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's cool to see that they're doing well and that people are supporting it. But I'm not gonna lie, I was a little happy to get out of there without a ticket when that rain was never ending. I looked at the radar right around 6:30, about an hour to first pitch, and I'm like, oh, this probably is not stopping the rest of the night. Like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. That's the worst, when it's that just like kind of slow, steady rain the whole game. You're just Ted's under his cover enjoying it, but everyone else is just drenched.
I was surprised how many people stayed, to tell you the truth. I mean, I looked around through that whole game, and there was empty seats, but it was still a darn good crowd for a Friday night. Now, part of that might have been ludicrous. I don't know, but they sold a heck of a lot of orange ponchos. I will say that. You saw that everywhere. Now, we're a little heavy on catch up because, in the sports world, you got NBA, you got NHL, Tigers, but we're a little limited on what's going on in the sports world right now. We'll get into some of that before the podcast is over, but part of our Friday night was an experience at the Tin Roof, and we talked about it. Chi-Town was there. It was a great night at the bar. I will say that, for old timers in our old time group that was there, my sister and her husband and my wife, I think we definitely were the oldest people there. Would you agree with that, Jared?
Because I definitely felt maybe like I was on the older end in there at 26. It was a young crowd. That's my first time going to Tin Roof after a game in 3-4 years. I always forget how packed it gets. It's unbelievably packed. You can't hardly move. That's why as soon as I got in, I found a spot in the bar right in the corner by the Papa Shot.
Yep. Which,
my God, dude, you just got to read the room in a packed bar like that. You're not playing Papa Shot tonight, man. There's one guy who kept playing Papa Shot. Like every 20 minutes, it felt like you'd pop over, play a couple rounds literally by himself. I don't even think he was playing with anybody, and then just go back to the bar. So yeah, it's an awesome show. Like, it's amazing seeing like how many people are there singing along the songs and all that. But it reminded me of being back in college at that bar. It was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. And Ted didn't stand you up. That's the big part. Ted made it out to the show.
I made it into the bar. Somebody else, maybe will be unnamed, didn't make it into the bar. An almost 60-year-old that didn't have his license.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I forgot his ID. Not the.
They wouldn't
I've
let
never
him
heard
in?
of that, man. That's a first.
No, they wouldn't let him in. He's 60 years old, for crying out loud.
That's kind of crazy.
They were not lacking people in that place, so they probably
they weren't
any
worried about
excuse not to let you in, they probably were looking for. Yeah.
Now, overall, what do you think of that place, Jared, as a younger guy, even though you think you're older? The way they have it set up. I mean, we made a mistake. They have like 2 lines to get in. There's one line's like, I don't know if it's a
Speed
VIP line or what it
Right.
is. How does that work? Because I didn't quite
I
understand. We got all the way to the front, and then they said, no, you got to go to the back of the other line.
Oh,
I
geez.
usually don't go out in Detroit that often. It's a
Okay.
little spread out. It's a little harder to get bar to bar. I don't know. To me, I almost feel like it's like 25. Detroit's like 25 minutes from my place, whereas the Royal Oaks 10 minutes. Birmingham, I also love to go there 10 minutes. Those are usually where I go. Tin Roof is the awesome bar. The only thing it's like what I complain about with Detroit is like, man, you need like a row of bars right where those are. Instead, we
Yeah.
have the Little Caesars, corporate office. We have Huntington, I think, corporate office. It's like we have like the Hockey Town bar that I feel like is never open. I don't really understand what that bar is. It seems like it's never open.
Really?
Yeah, and so we need like 3 or 4 of those bars right next to Tin Roof, and it would really be an awesome spot. Just who doesn't like jumping to a few different bars in a given night? So to me, that's the only complaint. I love Tin Roof. It's just it's by itself on that corner.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, Ted, you were just at Fenway, around Fenway.
Right.
You can exactly what you're talking about, Jared. You can do exactly that. You can
Bars
walk
everywhere.
from bar to bar, and
And that's like that parking that's right there in between that almost seems like it's prime real estate to develop a couple things right there.
The underground one there?
No, where it's a couple parking spots that only fit maybe 100 total cars.
Oh, I
We've
got you.
tailgated there before,
Yeah.
right in between Tin Roof and in the stadium. To me, it's like, let's just get rid of those parking lots. I don't even know who parks there. And let's put something there. That's what I would do.
Well, I think there's a church there, so it may be difficult to tear that down.
Yeah.
Well, just get them free entry into the parking garage on Sundays.
There you go.
No, don't tear down the church. That church is awesome. I want keep the church up. Those parking lots to the right
just
of it.
the parking lot.
Yeah.
The show was good though. Chi-Town.
Yeah, we got there just in time when they're starting it off, and man, they got the crowd going right from the rip, didn't they, Jared? I mean, they were into it.
They shifted their set list around.
They did.
From when I was there a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to remember what song they started with, but it was no, it's a good show, man. I was running on fumes, as I said, like at the start of the last week's pod, where I was like, man, I'm barely recovering from last week, and I'm already getting back into another Chi-Town show. So I did make it longer than the older people. They left probably 30, 45 minutes before I left, but I wasn't soon. I was pretty soon behind them.
Yeah, well, we had an hour and a half drive.
Right. Yeah, that's a little different.
Well, it was a great experience for sure,
fun.
even despite the rain. Chi-Town played very well. It's kind of interesting to me being an old guy, as Jared and I were talking. I mean, it was a young crowd. Some of the outfits some of these young ladies were wearing were incredible.
That's why I'm always like, it's kind of cool going out in Birmingham because the guys are all dressed up. The girls are wearing like almost like something you would see like in Sex in the City or something like that. I don't know how to describe it, like the up class look. Whereas then you go to Detroit and Tin Roof and it's like you're either wearing like a baseball jersey or you're basically wearing nothing. So it's kind of quite the mix of those two things. You got the guys wearing the Tarek Skubal Motor City jersey, and then standing next to a girl that's like basically wearing nothing. It's just funny to me.
Absolutely,
especially right after a game. Yeah,
soaked. Everybody's soaked. Yeah.
Well, we wrapped it up. I'm sorry, Matt. We wrapped it up with a fun Father's Day get together at Jared's dad's house. He got a new purchase. He bought a pizza oven, so we had homemade fresh pizza right out of the oven outside. It was pretty cool.
I'm actually kind of blown away how well those work. I thought it was pretty good pizza. It was pretty quick to whip it together. That's my first time having some, and it's actually pretty quite the. Like I remember the first time I ate out of an air fryer, I was like, "Wow, this is
right."
Like I don't know where they came up with this. Is like restaurant food, like right outside of an air fryer, and that's the same way with that pizza oven. I was like, "Man, this is like something you'd." Actually, when I first saw it, I was like, "This looks like Chuck E. Cheese pizza, like all greasy and like we know the look." But it was actually still pretty good.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, it's technology nowadays, especially those like kitchen appliances. Mind blowing.
Do you know the brand? Do you know if it's
Solo Stove?
Solo Stove?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
It probably is that, because we have one of those solo stoves, one of those smokeless, fire pits.
Right.
And we got that when that was basically all solo stove had, was those fire pits. But now, they've expanded too.
Yeah.
They've got a whole itinerary, or a whole, inventory of pizza ovens and tabletop fire pits and just all this stuff. So, and I say that because I've talked to my wife about getting the solo stove pizza oven, and we've been like, I wonder how the pizza is out of there, but
it's really
there
good.
You go. There's
it really
the review.
is really good.
Yeah, that's exactly. It was solo stove. Now that I'm looking at pictures of it, yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, again, I just can't get over the technological advancements. I mean, you can tell we're America. It's like, I don't know, should we, advance our healthcare? Should we advance this? Should we advance that? No, let's put all of our best people on making fried food better and making pizza. Like, that's kind of seems like what we do. So
no, we need a backyard pizza oven. That's the most important thing.
Again, it's like you're blown when you have it. You're like, that's a pizza oven. That's tastes like restaurant pizza. So.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I was going to throw out, before we maybe move on, how to catch up. I meant to mention while we were talking about Gus Macker, not to get it back to that, but I wanted to mention this. You brought up your trophies. So my nephew's court was right next to the top men's court. So it was kind of cool to be there, but then also watch the
basically
top men's.
Your eyes are more toward the men's court.
I'm not going to say that on the podcast, but right before one of the games, one of my nephew's games, there was a game going on that I kind of wish I could have been on over there watching the whole thing, because one team had, I mean, these teams were, they look like it looked like a college March Madness 3-on-3 matchup going on. One team had this dude who, it always makes you realize how big legitimate college / professional players are. This dude was 6'9". At this point, he was 433 pounds. I was standing over by, they have a little grandstand. It's like, just 3 levels, the grandstand. Right. I was standing by a dude there watching a little bit, and he started talking to me. Come to find out, he knew everything about these two teams. But he said that dude played for Eastern Michigan. So obviously Eastern Michigan basketball, it's not Duke, it's not North Carolina, but still, looking at that dude, 6'9", probably in his prime, probably weighed 260, 270, something like that. Now obviously has put on some pounds, but he's towering over everyone, even in the top men's division. So it always makes you you always see that if you see an NBA player, you're like, this is different. 6'10", 6'9", 6'11". These guys are on a different level. I mean, this dude, even at 430 pounds, could still move. I mean, this guy, he didn't have the stamina. He definitely two possessions, and he was getting the substitution. He'd come back in 2-3 possessions, substitution. But the team they were playing, this guy told me, and they were good. They were very good. 3-on-3 basketball is different than 5-on-5 full court.
Oh, yeah.
But he told me this one dude, he was on the other team than the 6'9" dude. 137 of those gold ball trophies. He has won 137 Gus Macker tournaments, and I think he said 86 second place trophies. He said he's been playing. He's like good buddies with this guy. He said he's been playing since he was 18. Now their team is sponsored. They're sponsored by whoever, and they probably travel all over basically every tournament. But he's won 137 of those things, and 86, I think he said, second place.
Probably semi-pro, probably getting a salary along with it.
He might be getting a little bit of money. He named off 2 of the guys on his team. I think he said one played for Bowling Green, one played for some other small Bible school.
How do they do that? How do they afford that?
Probably sponsorships. Yeah, maybe they get a little salary, but I bet whoever, because they definitely had sponsors on their shirts and stuff, probably pay for their hotel, probably pay for a little bus or a van or something like that, but that's just kind of insane. But yeah, I was just thinking for those people that get 1 or 2, this guy's got 137 of them. Pretty wild. But no, and then the one he said, sorry, this was going to keep going. So the big tournament of Gus Macker Belding is where it started, right?
Right.
He said, this dude told me last year, if you guys remember 2 names, Chris Kaman, who played, Central Michigan, played in the NBA. There was a guy that played it for the Lakers for a little bit, Robert Sacre. He played like towards kind of the end of Kobe's career with the Lakers, but NBA player, big guy.
Yeah.
Apparently they have a team that plays in some Gus Mackers. You think about Chris Kaman made like 9 NBA All-Stars or something like that.
Wow.
And he said this dude who has 137 trophies beat Chris Kaman's team at the Belding tournament last year to win the tournament.
The open event.
This guy is like the
Insane.
flag football quarterback. Like he would, if LeBron challenged him to a 3-on-3, he would probably claim he could beat him. This team. So that's who that is.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, good stuff, guys. Great catching up again. I also want to remind our listeners that we have some other great partners. They include Rivals, Taphouse, and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. We'll take a short break and come back, talk a little sports right after this. All right, we talked a little bit about it. I mean, the NBA's finals are winding down. Game 6 coming up on Thursday. Not a lot to get into that other than Oklahoma City just completely dominated, for the most part, Game 5. So it's a good series. I don't know what the TV ratings are. They're probably down, but it's a good matchup, I think.
Yeah,
I think if you're an NBA fan, I think you like it because I think we talked about it before, but you know, you don't have the big names. You don't have Steph Curry. You don't have LeBron James. You don't have some of those big names. But again, if you like the NBA, if you appreciate basketball, it is a good series because, you know, SGA, he's the MVP. He's really good. The Thunder are deep. And the Pacers just play a really like good style of basketball. They just, you know, play an enjoyable style of basketball to watch, especially if you're Pistons fans, you would like watching this Pacers team because they kind of remind you a little bit of the 04 going to work Pistons. But yeah, I think, you know, they took the lead in the series. They were up 2-1. The Pacers were. It kind of looked like they might be able to steal it, but I think the depth of the Thunder probably going to prevail.
Yeah,
Halliburton's a little bit banged up. I think it's like his left calf or something like that. I think is tight, so that doesn't help. They had their chance in Game 4 at home when it went down the stretch. If they would have won that, it's weird to say because that would have put them up 3-1, but it kind of felt like a must-win game to win the series. Now it's a must-win Game 6, and then obviously you have to go back to home to Oklahoma City where the crowd is unreal. Like those fans deserve a title. It's crazy that town ever got a NBA franchise. I think my dad and my brother have been there before. They're like, there's literally nothing here. Like. They made the whole long winding road to Arizona when my brother first moved out there. Like that's for whatever reason, that's where they picked to stop off at. And they got there and there's literally like, there's nothing here. But they love their basketball. So it's awesome to me. It's just like, give us a Game 7. That's all we need.
Yes.
That's just, I don't care if it's a blowout in Game 7. Who doesn't love an NBA Finals Game 7? I mean, that's the pinnacle of really sport pretty much in general, I would say, other than maybe the Super Bowl. There's been a lot to talk about the NBA Finals signage on the court, which it's been funny how how people complained about it. Then they put virtual ones on. The virtual ones didn't look great. I think we can all agree that. But then even continuing that, then they finally decided to show the starting lineup introductions in Game 5. I'm kind of with the NBA fans on this. It's like it feels like obviously there's no LeBron. Obviously there's no Steph Curry. We knew that the teams are kind of different. Maybe it didn't have that star power. But with that being said, to me, it's like the finals lost a little bit of luster without the custom court, without showing those introductions. I mean, when I was a kid, watching those Pistons introductions, that was the highlight of the game to me. It was awesome. It was the best part of the game. And you still remember those images. And now you don't even see that. Like, and I was watching how they shot it for Game 5. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe that they don't show this every game. I understand there's a lot to get in before the game, you know, sponsors and commercials and obviously like preview of the game. But to me, it's like that's what the NBA Finals is about. Is that in those introductions in Oklahoma City, in Indiana, the crowd's going absolutely nuts, and then it's looking on that court and seeing the NBA Finals logo. As stupid as that sounds, I think it's important to not lose what separates it from the rest of the games that you watch on replay or whatever. I just think it's important. What do you guys think?
I'm curious what Ted thinks because, like, if we talk about the MLB All-Star uniforms or other times we talk about uniforms, Ted usually is just kind of like, I don't really care. So I'm curious what you think about the court.
It's all right. I mean, but I do miss the the logo. I miss a little bit of the historical factor there for sure. Baseball, that's a whole nother topic on the All-Star game. It's
They just dropped the All-Star uniforms. Are horrible, by the way.
Yeah, they're doing it again. I thought they were changing back to wearing the home and aways.
I could have swore I saw that. Go ahead and keep talking, but I could have swore that
No, you probably are right. I'm not in tune with that. I will say, Friday night, and again, I'm not a big fan of the City Connect jerseys, but it's like, if I'm going to go to the Tiger game, I want to see those classic white uniforms with the big English D. I don't want to see the softball uniforms they're wearing. Jeez. But if it gets them a W, I'm okay with that.
Right. No, I mean the court. I definitely. I'm kind of surprised too, Jared, that you're on board with the NBA fans, because like you were just saying with the Tigers, they always have something to complain about, and I feel like other times we've talked about sports fans always complain about everything. You kind of roll your eyes at it, but no, the NBA court for the NBA Finals. Yeah, I'm definitely with it, because when you look at the classic pictures through the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, the pictures of the NBA Finals, it was awesome seeing that huge trophy at midcourt or the script NBA Finals, in those spots. It really did make it stand out. And then especially, that in-season tournament that we have now, the NBA Cup or whatever, they really do alternate courts for that. I mean, those are a little crazy with the paint jobs and stuff like that. So it is kind of like you put those side by side. You got the NBA Cup court, looks crazy. And then at least for the first couple games of the NBA Finals, it was just, there was nothing that said NBA Finals on the court. It was just a normal court. And it was really cool, that huge trophy, like the 04 Pistons going to work. That series had the huge trophy at mid-court, and it was really cool.
Any clue why they changed? Why they
decided said that it was because the court's slippery, or the logo is slippery. But like what Matt said, it's like, well, the in-season tournament, the whole court is a sticker essentially. Right. So it was lame. And the worst thing is when you correct it, because people will get mad about it, and then the correction's way worse than just not even having it. The virtual look was horrible.
Yeah. I'd be curious to hear the discussions about that, because I've been on some games where the virtual, before it's like the advertisements, the virtual advertisements. And Jared, I'm sure you've been in a truck or maybe a meeting or something with this, but getting all that stuff calibrated and making it actually work properly. Again, you're talking about the solo stove innovations of our technology nowadays, but it's not as easy as just like, oh yeah, just put a virtual thing on the court. Like, you got to get it calibrated right, because you want the dimensions to look correct, and obviously if the lighting has to be correct to make it look right. And with players running up and down the court, you don't want it to be like, like shaking or going in and out. So like, I'm kind of surprised they went the virtual route. When I saw that, I was like, oh man, usually that virtual stuff, I mean, they've got it pretty well hammered down now, the technology, but more often than not, virtual stuff, like there's always some sort of issue. There's always something that kind of goes wrong.
How I saw the tweet, it was like, if somebody screenshotted like half of Tyrese Halliburton was like a trophy and half of them was himself, because of what you're saying, the calibration like wasn't perfect, right? And somebody's like, this is the NBA Finals now, like this is what we have to watch. It's just, it's stupid. Again, people find anything to complain about, like you said, but there's some things that are important. It's the nostalgia. I don't know what it is, but it's the NBA Finals. These teams deserve the special treatment, the introductions, the logo, all that. Like, that's just a small part of, a bigger issue, I guess, to me. It's like, let's really, where's the pregame concert? Where's I don't know. Like, maybe I'm remembering things a little better than they actually were, but it's like, I just think it's missing a little bit of the awesomeness that it once had, to me.
I can't agree more, man. I definitely am on board with that for sure. Well, Sunday was a big day. Really, the sport was the U.S. Open. Didn't have any competition with the NHL or the NBA, and Oakmont again reigned supreme. And what a finish! What a finish, man!
What an awesome course, man! It's super. Like, here's the thing that the running joke will be in a couple of my buddies is every U.S. Open week, there'll be the pictures of people dropping balls in the rough and saying, wow, it's so hard out here. It's going to be impossible for these guys. Then they come out and they shoot like 10 under every time. It's a tale as old as time. Within day one at Oakland, you're like, oh, this is a different course. Like, you look at this rough, it's literally like, it's awesome. Watching
like a jungle.
Yeah, where players, if they hit it in there, it's like they have to almost chip it out, like completely sideways, or just find any way to get it out of there because it's so thick. It was awesome to see that. Do I want to see that every week on the PGA Tour? No, but the U.S. Open should be the toughest test in golf, and that's what it was. It was absolutely amazing. That's what makes JJ Spawn finally breaking through and winning that big-time major after a couple collapses earlier this year. It's like he was nails down the stretch. Like, you finish birdie at that course, that's like, I don't even know how that's possible. And that final putt he made, 64 feet.
Amazing.
Longest putt anybody made all tournament. I mean, we were watching it on mute. All of a sudden, like, I'm kind of watching. I picked it up like halfway through the putt. I'm like, this is probably going to freaking go in. This looks like it's right on line. When you know it just drops center cup. It was freaking an all-time moment. That's when golf is at its best. It's tough to beat. Father's Day, right around 6 o'clock, sun setting, and you got a first-time winner like JJ Spawn walking it off like that. Nobody wanted that tournament to end with somebody losing it. And at one point there was like 5 guys at +1 looking like we could have like a flat 5-man playoff, and then everybody just started falling off after that weather delay. Other than JJ Spawn, he seemed to just have the lucky bounces, which earlier in the round, I mean, he hit off the flagstick on hole number 2, and it ricocheted literally 50 yards off the green for a shot that should have been like 10 feet to the hole. So he had a couple bad breaks too. So just awesome tournament. Good for JJ Spawn. I didn't know who the hell he was until 2 days ago, but now I'm a fan of this guy. I watched the post-game interviews and all that, and it's like, yeah, this is a good dude. I'm glad he won. So great tournament.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts, because I didn't get to watch much of the U.S. Open because I was up north, but I saw some people complaining about the conditions. And the U.S. Open usually does have those crazy, the rough and the bunkers and stuff or whatever. But I, of course, saw some people complaining about that. Like, this isn't, the U.S. Open should be one place where you put your best players on display, and you want your best golfers, and you're not doing this. Where do you fall with that? I mean, you too, Ted. Like, do you want to see all the time, every tournament, every weekend, guys up there shooting -27 to win the tournament? Or sometimes do you want to see, the cut at +8 because, the course is just like, I think it's a good mix. It's fun when dudes are dropping birdies, eagles every hole, but sometimes it's cool to see Scotty Scheffler behind a tree, or, trying to figure out how to hit out a rough that's, a foot long. It's kind of cool to see that too.
To me, it's 1 or 2 tournaments a year should be that tough test. I love watching it. These guys are so damn good. Like, let's really test them. Like, why not? Let's make it a cartoon course almost. And it's crazy. You see pictures of Oakmont from, like 25 years ago. It's trees everywhere. They completely redid this course. Gil Hans, I think, is the course designer's name, made it a lot more like link style, and obviously it's a little bit tougher now. But no, to me, it's awesome. That's the U.S. Open. That's the branding that every course tries to have. But like I said, it seems to be only Oakmont that actually comes through with the truest tough test in golf. To me, I don't love the tournaments that are +7, +8, like where it's really like making a bogey is honestly like almost a good score.
Right.
I like it where it's right around where it was at, -1. Even like +1, that's what wins the tournament. I think that's the perfect level of difficulty, but also you can see those wow moments with birdies like we saw with JJ Spawn. The thing that was crazy to me, so he was 5 over through 6 holes, bogeyed every hole but 1. He was playing horrible, shot a 40, I think, on the front. Then they go into the hour weather delay, and then he just comes out and rips the back 9. And I saw a video of his coach, like coaching him on the range. Like, you think of a golf coach, like, what is your job? This is where you make your money, is this 1 hour delay. This guy's swing is way off. You have to solve this swing in this hour delay on the range. And you're just hearing the audio from it. And he hits like a terrible shot on the range. You could tell he like hates it as soon as he hits it. Coach goes, "You're trying too hard, JJ. You have to let the fucker go." I don't know. Maybe it did much. Maybe it didn't. But just, you think of a golf coach, that's your job. Right. Make this guy play well down the stretch. Get him home. And that's what he did. And that was what you saw as soon as he won. His coach was going nuts, celebrating right afterward. And then you got to love the image. Seems like we've been seeing it after every tournament this last like 5 years or so, really since Tiger. Second he wins, Father's Day, he's got his 2 kids right there. And apparently I heard a story that he was like up changing diapers at like 3 a.m.
3 o'clock.
It was a funny story, but I'm also like, man, like, you got the biggest day of your life tomorrow. Like, maybe your wife I can appreciate it, but I was like, I haven't been a parent, so I understand that teamwork, but I'm like, man, I don't know, maybe this one night, maybe she can get the baby every night or every time. I don't know, but you guys would know better how that works.
I think he actually had to run to CVS to get some medicine, is what I heard.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was. So
yeah, so you don't really want to send the wife out at 3 a.m. in the morning to CVS.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Right.
So it just, it's I love it. And it's funny seeing so I saw a good tweet from Michael S. Kim. He's a good Twitter account on, he plays on the PGA Tour. I think he made the cut, shot like 14 over. He's like, that's the most proud 14 over I've ever been, like, in my life. But he said about the course, like, he, quote unquote, it was amazingly consistent everywhere. Normally you get a mix of good and bad lies, and they get better as the week goes on because people trample the grass. But he said, but not here. It was stronger, thicker than any rough I've ever played in my life. Like, that's a testament to that course. Like, I was kind of laughing at myself. I'm seeing videos leading up where they literally have a guy with like what looks like a beard razor, like trimming like single shreds of grass on the green. I'm like, dude, are we serious? Like, I don't think it needs that level of care. But when the players are saying how great of a job they did, like, and we saw the tournament lived up to the hype with the difficulty, it's like, it was all worth it. So
yeah, what a great finish. I mean, it has to go down as one of the great finishes of all time. That drive on 17 and that putt we've talked about. And back to the original question, I would be willing to watch more events at tougher courses with a real challenge, even if it was like maybe 4 a year, 4 a season, 4 or 5. I like it because it brings it more to reality, like the everyday golfer. That's what they struggle with. So when you see these pros struggle like that, I mean, only one golfer was under par, and he was 1 under par to win the tournament. Everybody else was par or over.
Yep.
What I don't get is, and this is like, to me, what's awesome about the U.S., like, or a lot of these majors that change locations. So they all do, other than Augusta. But I love seeing the new courses, like Oakmont, like, LA Country Club a couple years ago. It's like they need to start mixing that more in with the actual just tour events, like things that don't matter. It's like, why not have a couple stops every year that are changing? That maybe you're in northern Michigan, maybe you're in Florida. I don't know. Just give us. Who doesn't love seeing new courses and seeing what these guys can do to it? Like, that's what's kind of cool about Live. Live is coming to St. John's here in July, I believe. And it's like, let's go see what these guys do there. It's like, that's awesome that they're coming to Detroit. I would wish we can get an up north golf course. Just
that would be cool.
Like, when I think of Detroit, I'm like, I don't love the golf down here personally, but like, let's get up north. That's when I think of golf in Michigan. That's what I think of, not municipal courses in Detroit.
Right. I mean, obviously, the big thing is the logistics. Are there enough hotels and restaurants? And is there an airport nearby? And, all that. So, yeah, I mean, I think all of us who golf in Michigan or Michiganders, it would be amazing to see them up at one of those Boyne courses or, somewhere up north. It would be really cool. But they're not about to stay at the cabin that Ted sleeps at Black Lake. I mean, there's not very many options when you start getting very far up north as far as hotels. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing right there, but it would be really cool.
Well, moving on from golf, let's talk a little bit about WNBA basketball. Caitlin Clark made her return, man. Whew, she's the real deal.
People laugh at me, man. I do. I've watched more Caitlin Clark regular season games than I've watched of the NBA in like the last 2 years. I get a kick out of these games. There's storylines galore in the WNBA. I get a kick out of watching her play. Now I saw the ratings drop like 55% when she didn't play. Like, agreed. I don't watch it when she doesn't play.
Makes sense.
But when she plays, and we saw on Saturday where she had 9 points all from, Steph Curry range in 45 seconds, like, she has those wow type plays. I just think it's amazing how you can't say it enough. She's literally like a supernova of stardom in this league. It's entirely around her. It's just crazy to me. And I have buddies that laugh at me when I'll like send them a message like, wow, she's like going off right now. Like, why are you even watching that type thing? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Something about this has grabbed my attention more than the NBA has in a couple years. And like, I can't get enough of it. Am I alone? I don't know. I feel like a weirdo, but it's the reality. I get a kick out of watching the Indiana Fever games.
No, I mean, when she came back, that game that she dropped 32, all those 3-pointers, they beat the New York Liberty and gave them their first loss. I mean, Liberty are stacked. Breanna Stewart and a bunch of other stars, and the Fever, who are a 500 team right now because she was out, so they dropped some games while she was out, beat essentially the best team in the league or one of the best teams in the league. So first of all, it was just a hell of a win for them. But then to watch her, I mean, to me, I think I'm I'm not going to act like I sit here and watch every game of the WNBA, but because I work a lot of the games, it kind of makes me a de facto fan because, when you work them, you kind of become a little bit of a fan. First of all, working their games are great because they move quick. There's a lot of action. 2 hours basically, and the game is over. So, working a game is great. But I think, Ted, I think it's probably similar to when someone like a Michael Jordan came into the NBA, or there were guys like Dr. J and some other, athletic players before Michael Jordan. But Caitlin Clark is something the WNBA has never seen, is basically what I'm trying to say. I mean, there's been other good players, really good players in the WNBA, but that game the other day, she was literally pulling up from a step past half court. I mean, she was pulling up from the logo, Steph Curry type stuff, and it's something the WNBA has never seen. And she's not just like chucking up shit. She's really good. She also always has like 10 assists, and her team is good when she's out there. So she's like, her not being on the Olympic team last year is just laughable. And some of the other stuff that's going on, it's just like she's the best player in the league. Yeah.
Maybe them like being like deterring her stardom, like which they seem like they've done at every turn. Like you said, I even forgot about the Olympic thing. It's like almost like it's helped make her a bigger star, like from that. Like there's intrigue, there's rivalry, there's every time she goes off, the Gina Auriemma clip gets recirculated where he's saying how she's gonna have a rude awakening when she gets to the WNBA and how she's not built for the game. It's like, what are you talking? Like everybody was. I don't understand what they were so upset about. Like when she burst onto the scene, it was. Now I feel like they're starting to become better friends with her, like realizing like she's just trying to raise what the sport is. Obviously, I would be a little jealous too if I was in that league and she just came in, was literally like all the viewership went to her. I get that, but it just felt like it was like an evil, like almost like bullying. Like we're gonna keep her away from the cool kids, I guess. Like she's not in the in crowd of the WNBA. Now she's on like a revenge tour. At least that's how I view it as a fan. And that's why I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah,
maybe I'm romanticizing it a little bit, but
the whole jealousy thing just makes no sense. I guess somewhat human natured a little bit, but the thing is, the better she does, the better they're going to do money wise. I mean, she is the face of the league. And you talked about Jordan, maybe some of the other comparisons from day one when I started latching on to watching her play college basketball. Her game is Pistol Pete Maravich. I mean, he was a tremendous passer, tremendous scorer. Injuries set him back a bit when he got to the NBA, but that's the big comparison I have. And you talked about it. She had 10 assists. She is fantastic passing the ball. And obviously we know her deep shooting. I mean, they need to hop on her coattails and just ride it to paydays, man, because she is phenomenal. There's no question about it. And it brings up these other storylines, the Angel Reese thing, some of the other players in the league, it does nothing but elevate that league.
Right. And I mean, you can already see it. A lot of when the Fever come to play another team, sometimes they've had to move to another arena. Like when they come down to Atlanta, they have to move to where the Hawks play instead of where the WNBA team plays because of all the tickets. And like Jared already mentioned, the TV viewership and the charter flights. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about, but before Caitlin Clark, they weren't even taking like charter flights. So, I mean, she's changed that stuff, the shoe deals and, just everything. So she's elevating everything about the WNBA. And I think you're seeing, it seems like some of the other, obviously there's still some other, the rivalries, Angel Reese and some other ones, but it seems like some of the other players are turning that corner, kind of like what Jared was saying. They're being like, all right, she's not just a little flash in the pan like this. She's legit. And I think it's also because if she was only chucking up threes and that was it for her game, then maybe it would be the criticism you could but she gets her her teammates involved. And when she's out on the court, she's clearly a difference maker. So I think people are seeing that. Like she's not just a chucker throwing up 40-foot threes and that's it, So she's incredible to watch. She really is. And maybe because the game moves so quick, WNBA, she's almost becoming must-watch TV. If you're just sitting down and maybe eating lunch or, you're kind of nothing to do for a little bit and the Fever are on, you're turn it on and you're going to be entertained if she's out there.
100% agree. Well, let's take another short pause and then wrap this podcast up for the week. This is the 3 Point Podcast. All right, guys, couple things here I have anyway. I don't know what's going on with the Jonas Brothers. I got to throw that out there right now. They've moved their show from Comerica Park to Little Caesars Arena, same date, but I wonder if that has something to do with pre-ticket sales. It just makes you wonder. Maybe they're not selling out a big stadium. They did the same thing for 6 other shows, I think.
Hey,
it's not weather.
That is why.
Oh, it is. It's not worried about weather.
Yeah, I would, because it's an August 28th show. It was scheduled outside in the first place, but same night, just at LCA. So just a little note there from one of our listeners.
I was gonna say, do we need to hit up Craig and say, hey man, what's going on with the story?
I'm sure he'll post to us, so we'll stay tuned for that. Also, I had a couple quick high school things here locally, guys. In softball, the Langsburg Wolfpack lost a heartbreaker to Grass Lake 10-9 in the D3 quarterfinal. The Pack had runners on first and third in the 7th inning with 2 outs, but couldn't tie it or take the lead. So it's still a great season for Langsburg. And we were talking about the U.S. Open. We'll finish it here locally with golf. Chesaning finished 7th place at the D3 golf finals held at the Meadows Golf Course at GVSU. You ever golf that course, Jared?
No, I didn't. I played this weekend and I played horrible. And I don't know. I think I might be done with golf for a minute. But yeah, it was – no, I never played there. And well, it was like, think about when you're at Grand Valley, you get there in, September and you're leaving by March. It's like you're not really there for the prime summer, months of golf, but it looks like an awesome freaking course. What was awesome about it, real quick, just to go on a 30-second tangent, is the tailgating scene. Like they used to call it like DUI road, pretty much. I don't remember, because it would connect to like the one singular bar like around campus, and then you would walk this long road into campus. And as you're walking, like on game days, GVSU game days, guys would be like hitting their tee shot right next to this road, and people would be going nuts, like basically trying to distract them as they're hitting the shots. It's like a Ryder Cup atmosphere as you're walking to the game. But anyway,
yeah. The Meadows is nice. I played it probably like 5 or 6 times.
Nice.
It's a nice course, and the people who golf for GVSU. There's always they were out there a couple times when we were playing, like me and my buddies. So it was always kind of funny to see like the actual college golfers out there playing. It's a nice course.
Yeah, well, Indian Luke Scard tied for 3rd place overall, shooting a 2-round 152, 76 average. Not bad for that course, and not bad for a high school kid. That's all I have here to finish up, guys. You got anything else you want to get on the table before we call this a podcast?
That's about it.
Good to go.
The yearly, like your yearly streaming versus cutting the cord versus cable. It's a yearly. Jared goes out and golfs and then says, "No, I'm putting the club
done
away.
Yeah,
I'm done."
It's what's frustrating about it is I think I'm this golfer, but I don't practice how I used to practice. I don't play every day like I used to play. So it's like I have the standards of a guy who was playing every day from 3-4 years ago, and I play once every 2 weeks now. It's just frustrating. It's like it's either I need to start practicing every day like I was, or I need to stop playing altogether. Like that's what I had I had that realization on the hour ride back from the golf course yesterday. It's like,
well, how many rounds do you have scheduled up at Black Lake when we have our family reunion?
That usually is last year. That actually did me in for the summer. That was my last round of the year, was Black Lake, because that course is so freaking hard. We're gonna play a few times, and that's fun. Usually we're in scrambles, but when you're grinding and playing your own ball and trying to beat your buddies, and you can play with these guys, but you're just playing horrible.
Right.
There's nothing worse than playing horrible in golf. It's the worst feeling in the world. It really is.
Just keep the transfusions flowing, and you'll have a good time.
There you go. Well, we talked about the golf courses up north. You're going to we'll wrap it up with this. You're going to golf Mackinac Island, aren't you? You're planning on it?
Yeah, that's the plan. There's 2 different courses on Mackinac Island. One's, I believe, called the Jewel, which that's the one you see when you get off the boat, and it's got the scenic holes dropping in elevation and seeing the water. So that's maybe the more touristy one, but then they also have a course called Wawashkamo, which is like the oldest course in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's like it was an old battlefield at one point. A little bit more history there, but definitely not the scenic views. So it's you can't go wrong with either selection, but I'm maybe leaning more toward the Jewel, because it has that beautiful flower scenery and all that type of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do you have to make, I mean, a lot of those courses, some of the really popular ones up there, you have to make your tee time quite a ways out. Like, have you already made tee times, or are you?
No, well, Mackinac Island, like those courses, they're kind of like dead, honestly. We were there. That's the reason we even got this idea. Is last year we were just like, let's go check out this clubhouse. Like maybe they have some cool gear. I'll get a hat or something. And we were in there, and the guy was like, "Hey, you guys just want to go play? Like you can go play for free." And we're like, "No, it's all right. We don't got clubs. Oh, well, you can use our clubs for free. Go ahead and take these like the set rate." Like the guy was calling every bluff to like get us to play. But it was like 6 p.m. and after a day of day drinking, I think we were all kind of just spent on it. Or at least I think maybe my uncle probably would have wanted to play. Maybe my cousin Casey probably would have wanted to as well. But I was there with my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know. I'm ready to call it a day. And especially when I quit golf literally for this year, the very next day. So, but no, I think it's not too terrible to get a spot. The hassle is getting your clubs there. You got to get them on the boat, and then you got to lug them up that mega hill to get to the course. So that's not what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and I understand they've definitely jacked the price on the ferries too. There's only one ferry line now, and it's $50 to get over the island.
Crazy.
That's not even round trip. It's $50.
No, it's round trip.
Oh, okay.
$50.
But I think it was $10 before that, $15,
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well.
That'd be something. If maybe they do, but that'd be something. If the courses, they don't have to be like top of the line clubs. If they had some clubs there for people to use, that could maybe incentivize people. But
yeah. Well, it's going to be fun for sure. But let's call this a podcast. Special thanks to the Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. As I've mentioned, voted the best health club and gym for 2025, 3 straight years now. Give them a follow on Facebook for all they got going on. Also want to thank our other great partners, AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Shook & Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes. Also on board, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. And stay tuned down the road here in July. I think we're going to have another partner podcast. So we'll see what's up with all our partners. It's always a fun time to get together. Also, Chi-Town, we saw them down at the Tin Roof. Well, they're going to be in downtown Durand on Wednesday, June 25th, downtown on Main Street there, 7 o'clock. Always a great show. They pack them in. So that'll be fun. I want to also say thanks to my wife, Lana, for putting up with me for 31 years. And I want to wish her a happy special birthday coming up on Juneteenth. We'll be down at the Tiger game, but hopefully we'll celebrate with a Tiger victory and some great pizza down there. So
you keep saying special birthday. Is that because you don't want to throw the number out?
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to. In kindness to her, people can figure it out. Just say I'm 68. Let's just put it that way. All right, peace and love, everybody. Be kind, and thanks for listening.